Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast episode 80 for Tuesday the 13th of July 2021. I'm your host Mark Webb, Gamertag Pearson on the Steam ID Webby360G, and joining me today is...
It didn't come home, Nick Wilson.
And Sensei Switch.
But apparently it's coming to Rome. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Just to upset some people. Yep, so we delayed the podcast by a day, so everyone, so all of us could watch the football last night. Sadly, England didn't win. It came home to Rome instead, which was a little bit sad. But, you know, England got to a final for the first time in a long time. I think everyone, you know, did us proud, you know. So on to the World Cup in Qatar next then.
They should hopefully be able to use that as a big confidence booster for, like, at least the World Cup, that how far they got previous, like trying to avenge it.
Yeah, they just need to deal with the silly amount of heat in that country. Yeah, I do think Qatar, just on a personal note, is a really odd choice of country for World Cup. Yeah, I know it's money, but but this is the double standards of big fat corporations, and I'm going to call it out right now because we are an independent podcast. And
I think if I recall, England were really bidding for the 2022.
Yeah, I mean, it should have come to England, you know, but. You know, you look at Qatar and their human rights abuses. They stone to death gay people. They treat women like shit. You know, and we're at a point in time where football is trying to push, you know, diversity and the rainbow flag and all that stuff you've been seeing in the Euros this year. And then the World Cups in Qatar. It's a bit of a double standard, if you ask me. So I do find it a very odd choice, and it just seems to be no one's talking about it, and it's just been brushed under the carpet.
It will be a talking point just before it all begins next year, no doubt.
Well, yeah, but because like when I was watching the game last night, right? You had you got the adverts going on the banners around the pitch. And had like the Volkswagen advert with the rainbow flag saying we support the LGBT and all that stuff. You won't see any of those adverts in Qatar, I'll tell you that now.
Well, technically, a lot of it is due from the fact the tournament started during Pride Month. And those same advertisers,
yeah, but we're not in Pride Month now,
carry over.
So, but no, you won't see that out. You won't see any of that out there. So yeah, I just find that a bit of a double standard, to be honest. But that's by the by. We're here to talk about video games. And we have a lot to talk about this week, actually. So we've got I've got a few games played. There's a fuckload of news coming later on in the show, as everyone knows. We have swapped around the order of the show. This is a everybody week anyway, but we're going to keep that order going because it's just easier. So we're going to start off with Nikki. We haven't spoken to you for a short while, a couple of weeks. What have you been playing, my man?
Right, I was trying to remember now. I've got to get the name of it right because that's a weird Switch game. Not that weird. Crazy Stroke Bowling EX, which I bought out on Switch. I mean, it's on sale now, actually. I think it's on sale until the 15th. Like, it's normally £9, but that's always going on sale down to like £3.59 and stuff like that. It's basically just like a weird
Crazy
Japanese.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Crazy Stroke Bowling EX.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much everybody's golf but bowling.
All right.
It's quite nice, you know. I think so far I haven't unlocked any more. I don't know if you get them. I think there's like 6 characters, and there's like loads of different modes. No online though, as far as I can see, and I've been looking. But there's like loads of you get like classic bowling mode, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, but that's like all different levels. So like you get the level like Tron, you know, with all neon lights, and you get a level in the jungle, a level in like an ice world where the pins are actually like little penguins instead of pins.
Oh, right. Is this a Switch exclusive game, is it?
I think so. I haven't seen it on anything else. I did have a quick look, but yeah, that's where I found
it on the Switch.
It looks like
I don't think it's medium. I don't think it's complete indie. I mean, the developers who made this, they made what was it, Eterno Blade 1 and 2, which has come on PS4 and Xbox, which is
Right.
sort of an indie game, but they released a physical copy as well. That's sort of like a side-scrolling hack and slash roguelike type game, which I didn't play for very long because I kept dying. But yeah, this is quite good. I mean, like I say, you've got standard like bowling mode with all the little characters, and but then you get other modes like where they'll put like boxes and stuff like like obstacles on the lane, which you have to
I
sort
just
of
want to
avoid.
just call out it is on Xbox as well. I just binged it for me Bing points.
Oh yeah, get your Bing points in. You'll be asking Jeeves next.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like obviously you just got to get all the points from like stuff like that, and then you can unlock like costumes and obviously put them in like bikinis and stuff like that because obviously that's what you have to do. I can't find any microtransactions or anything, and like to actually to pay for it. So like everything is unlockable in the game, and that's quite good. That's got like let's say 3 or 4 different modes, like battle modes where it's like get 3 strikes in a row, hit 3 like spares in a row, and so many points. And so it's got loads of like modes and that. So it's a good little game, just for something that's like quick on the go sort of thing. I quite enjoyed that actually. That's pretty cool.
Oh, wicked.
So I was just like playing it on the Switch when I was round my mum and dad's for a few days, sort of helping out there.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Obviously, because obviously you can't just lug a 4K TV around an Xbox around there, can you? Or maybe I could have actually.
Perhaps have they not got a 4K TV already? You need to sort them out.
Yeah, they're old. They're blind. They can't see 4K. I think they've still got 720p TV.
Oh, old school.
Yeah, very old school. It's one of the first, the Samsung TVs that look like a monitor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One of those ones. I think that's what the original 360. That's like the ones they used to like demo the 360 when it was out. But anyway, and then also like for next week, which I streamed it in one, which was DLC for a game, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Right. Okay. What system is that on?
That's on everything. Well, that's on PS4, PC, and Xbox, and the complete edition is coming to the Switch. I want to say in September.
Okay.
Because they announced that at the E3 Treehouse thingy event they did.
Yeah.
So that's coming out on the Switch there. But I mean, this DLC is about a year and a half. We've been waiting for this because they've done the season pass is fairly cheap. I think it's like 20 quid. But if you go on like CD Keys or Shopto, you can get it for 16. And it had like originally 2 pieces of DLC, but they were just like basically boss battles and stuff like that, where you just level up and then you fight bosses from Dragon Ball Super. So you get like different coloured hair and stuff. Like you get the red hair in the first one, and obviously the blue hair in the second one, and fight all the bosses and stuff like that. But the third one was actually story DLC, which is not as good. 6-7 hours long, maybe. And basically, that's what's it called? Trunks. I should have checked this really. I don't know what that was called. I think it's like Trunks the Super Warrior or something like that. And basically, it's from the TV show, but it was like it was more than what the TV show done, because in the middle of Cell Saga and the androids, which is like the middle part of Z, which people would understand if they've watched that, basically one of the guys, Trunks, come back from the future to basically like Terminator, try to stop the future from happening, stop people from dying and blah 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 blah. But this is all from his perspective, which he told you what happened in the his future. But this one you actually get to play it and see what happened, like alternate timelines and stuff like that. So that's pretty good actually. I actually really enjoyed that game because it is fairly simple, standard fighting game, but it has all the story elements from probably 90% of the TV show.
Right. Okay.
So if you play this with the main story with the DLC, you're probably looking at 50-60 hours, and you can get this for probably, I think you can get it for like a tenner, like just on its own. On like the Game of the Year edition, usually goes on sale for about 30 quid.
Oh wow. Okay.
Is that with the season pass and stuff? Is it the
Yeah, but that's
one?
like a CD keys sort of thing. You know,
Oh,
sometimes
okay.
Xbox put it on sale, but now all the DLC is out now. Because like I said, this came out January 2020. I think it got delayed because of COVID and stuff like that. So people have been waiting for it for a long time, especially people who bought the season pass, you know, like 18 months ago. Yep. And then obviously another one I've been playing. I know Webby's going to like this one, Yakuza 0.
Yay.
Oh yes, you finally
'Cause I
starting off
haven't-
the Yakuza franchise then.
I've played the original Yakuza or Yakuza 1, whatever, on PS2, you know, years ago. But I've always just, you know, just never got round to it. And I still never understand. I some people say it, how they don't like English voice acting, but the Japanese voice acting just puts me off.
Oh,
I don't know why.
It
It's
is like that for some people because
yeah.
there's people I know that don't want to concentrate on the subtitles, which I will get to that on another game later to a degree.
It's not just that, but because I'm obviously Twitch streaming it as well, it's like, well, I could read it, but then the guy in Japanese is reading it. So if I'm trying to talk as the same guy as a Japanese guy is talking as well, that just sort of, you know, muddles over it.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. But I mean, this game, I can't remember the original being this batshit insane, to be honest.
It wasn't. They
Yeah.
kind of did go a bit over the top with Zero.
Yeah, but it's
so good.
I mean, because it's, you know, it started off fairly simple because you got, was it Kiryu, who's obviously in the Yakuza. He gets framed for murder, and for some reason the Yakuza don't like that, even though they're criminals. So I thought, all right. So what he does, he leaves the Yakuza gang to like clear his name. And then I think I'm about 10 hours in. For some reason now I'm running like some weird strip club, and I'm not sure why. And then I've been teaching some woman dominatrix how to like talk dirty and downgrade her simps or whatever that's called. And I'm like, this is weird. I was like, you know, haven't you got anything better to do, Kiryu? You know, you're wanted for murder, mate. You ought to be solving this bloody murder mystery, and you're running around doing stuff like that. And then I've got some guy, Mr. Pervert, keeps running around in his like underpants, thrusting at me all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I could see why Webby likes this game.
No, it's just crazy Japanese because the thing with the Yakuzas, right? They've got a real serious main story, but the side stuff is just batshit crazy.
Yeah, most of this is the side stories, obviously, and then, which I didn't even know up until now. You know, you actually play as two characters in that game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got Kiryu, and then you've got what was it? Was it Goro?
Yeah.
Majima.
Majima? Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude, the guy with the eye patch. I mean, this is really early stuff, and that's just like, you know. Because like he gets told, you can come back into the Yakuza because he was like a disgraced Yakuza, and they cut his eye out. Like this is like the first mission, like really early on. So I hope that's not too spoilery, even though I think the game's probably 5-6 years old now. And then he says, oh, if you're gonna go, you have to assassinate this person, and then they'll let you back into the Yakuza. So he's like, oh, I'm having that. So he goes to this massage parlor, and then he's getting a massage by this blind lady. And then the big muscly guy comes in who's like the owner, and he's like, right, let's fight him, kick the crap out of him. And then all of a sudden that gets flipped, and it turns out it's not the big muscly ex-Yakuza guy you want to kill or have to assassinate. It's actually the blind woman. And I'm like, ooh, you know, you don't normally get turns with that sort of stuff in video games, do you?
Yeah.
So then he's like, and then you sort of escape with her, and he's like protecting her. And then that's like, you get to the end of the chapter, and she's sitting there crying, like on her knees, but not beneath him when they got to safety. And then he just pulls his knife out, and then I was like, oh no, you're not going to do that. And then it just like fades to black, and then you go back to do another few chapters as the other, you know, as Kiryu instead.
Yeah.
So then they leaving it on cliffhangers. I was like, oh no, don't do that. But that's really good. I'm enjoying it. I do wish I had English voice acting though. That's just because the
They
original.
did add it in 6, didn't they?
I think
Yeah.
6 and 7 and like Judgment and stuff
7.
like that. I think Judgment have got it. It's just a weird thing how they took it. They had it in the PS2 versions, and then for whatever reason they decided to not bother. After that, if
It was
they never
because it
ever
was
did it.
a niche. Yeah, it was because it was a niche title and it never sold particularly well. It obviously cost them more money to get the English voice acting, so they just passed on it. To be honest,
I mean, plus,
save a bit of
because
cash.
my mate Tony, who he's been playing, he plays these like religiously. He's played for him so many. I think he's just finished Yakuza 5 again, and I think he spent like 90 hours on that. So I understand in a way, for some of these games. I think like a Dragon, you could easily put 100 hours into
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah.
So I can sort of see why they haven't done it. It's just a bit irritating, because I think they are, especially recently, Yakuza's been selling really well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it
that's
has, yeah.
why they have changed and added the English dub to them.
Maybe they should do a Kickstarter everyone could pay for to get a download pack. I don't know, but
see, I never play. I play them all in Japanese because I've played because Yakuza 0 didn't have the English voices. I just got used to it, so then I just played for all of them with the Japanese voices, and it just feels more realistic because they're all Japanese. They're set in Japan. Why would they be speaking English? So it just feels more authentic to me like that.
Yeah, did you ever play the PS2 ones, though, Webby?
No.
Yeah, so maybe that's why, because you never played them, with English. So if you'd have got used to it so I think if they had the option for the Japanese, like with Like a Dragon, did you play that in English or did you set that to Japanese?
I played all of them in Japanese.
Yeah, so you had the choice and you decided to go because that's what you were used to. So maybe because I was used to the first two on PS2 being English, maybe that's why that did it. But plus, I never got a PS3 till quite late. So obviously, I played. I didn't get Yakuza. Well, I don't remember when the first Yakuza came out. I think it was probably in 2005, something like that. 2004, 2005.
A long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously this is. Yeah, because this is like the spiritual successors to Shenmue. I think a lot of the people who worked on that went on to this sort of game.
Yeah, I never played the originals. I only played them since they got re-released. So I went through all of them, and it's one of my favourite game series now. To be honest, mate, that's so good.
Because was that Kiwami 1 and 2? That's the first two, and they call it Kiwami. So I don't know you wouldn't know if they've changed much in them, but obviously when I get onto those, I think they're still in Japanese as well. But I'll probably be used to it by then.
Yeah.
But other than that, just usual like Warzone stuff like that, going through there. Oh, and I finally finished my Forza 4 when I got
nice.
The barn find, so I could finally finish with that now. So that only took me about 90 hours, something like that, of playing that.
Nice. It's such a good game.
Yep, so that's me done.
Oh, that was nice and easy. What about you then, Darren?
That was a bit quicker than I expected. Well, apart from the usual, also Rans, I suppose, that I usually knock in, week out, like your Final Fantasies, Fortnights, and Black Deserts and stuff. The two recent games I've been obviously sinking a little bit of time into is Scarlet Nexus on the PS5.
Oh, okay.
And the first thing I was actually quite shocked about that is how small it is, like file size wise, on the hard drive. So I think it clocks in at under 9 gig, yeah.
That's crazy,
under 9 gigabytes. And it looks fantastic. Like the graphical style on it and everything is pretty identical to Code Vein.
Yeah.
Except it hasn't got the character creator or anything that has, but you basically play as one of two people that are drafted into this new agency which teaches people that have got certain abilities to combat the sort of menace, which are kind of like these. They've actually got a name, but it was a few days ago when I played it. I can't entirely remember, but they look like sort of like plant-based life forms with sort of like mannequin legs and weird stuff.
Bars,
I'm sure it's done. I'm sure it's done to sort of kind of keep it a reasonable rating, because if you're actually attacking people and stuff,
it
would be a higher rating and stuff. It seems pretty cool. Like I say, I got used to it the second time round with the demo. The first time I played the original demo, I hated it. I went as the female character and I didn't get on with the combat. But then I switched to the male one, and that's who I'm playing with this time round. You sort of do your first bit, you go on your mission, you get introduced to all the other characters in the actual game, because different. It's kind of like there's two groups of people, and each group has got a set bunch of characters that you go out with on different missions and stuff. So there's sort of like quite an expansive cast, and I'm sure it ties in because there is an anime series that's been out for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, because I say
It's going
like the art
alongside it.
style, the art style was very anime. How are you finding the controls? Because I found it a bit odd when I played the demo.
I've got used to it,
Okay.
to be honest. Yeah, you kind of do get used to it in a way. I found it pretty confusing and annoying, like I said, when I was using the female character, because there's certain enemies in the game that are pretty much invulnerable unless you activate certain abilities that you borrow off of your companions that are with you on the missions.
Right, okay.
So there's like one where you'll basically put down an aura around the floor, which basically makes you invulnerable to sort of ground attacks for a set amount of time. And while that's up, you can then attack this enemy that puts out this big ground sort of puddle around itself, and various things like that. But like it's got a demo, so people can obviously sort of check it out. The thing that was actually quite surprising was, I think it was about a week or so after the game came out, some of the sales numbers came out for the game.
Yeah.
And even though it was pretty much marketed as an Xbox title, it sold the worst on Xbox than it did on both of the PlayStation modules.
I'm still not surprised.
So I think the Xbox made up 20% of the sales, and then like about another 60-something +% on PS4 and PS5. I think PS5 sold the most.
Okay, so what about PC then?
Sorry?
What about PC?
I think that just made up the little bit at the end, but generally games a lot of this type sell more on console than they do on PC anyway, which kind of makes sense. But I just thought that was kind of funny, because you do get a lot of people on Xbox that cry out to obviously have these games, but it does show you how niche that market is on the Xbox side of things.
Yeah.
Compared to obviously PlayStation.
Is it because PlayStation owners are a bunch of weebs?
Not necessarily. To a degree, but I think PlayStation owners are just more open to Japanese games in general, because that's mostly what PlayStation has had for the first 3 generations.
Yeah.
It's only really since the Uncharted games and stuff like that people have sort of paid more attention to Western developed games.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the turning point for PlayStation. Like when you had your God of Wars and your Uncharted's and stuff like that. But up until then, it's like mainly it was all the Japanesey stuff, the RPGs and such and like.
Yeah. No, cool, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm hopefully going to put more time into it this week. Obviously, I was a little bit busy last week, even though I wasn't working.
Yeah.
But it also allowed me time to, give a bit of a playthrough on the next game, which was I picked up Metro Exodus Uber Edition or whatever on earth it is.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw it being advertised and everything, and they were kind of like, "Oh, on Series X, it's 4K HDR and ray tracing and 60 and all that lot." Yeah, Metro Complete Edition. So basically, it's the main game and comes with both the DLCs.
Okay.
Sort of a thing. Because I didn't bother with it the first time round.
Yeah.
Even though I had the other stuff, I think what it was is there was a few other games about at the time it dropped, so I wasn't too sure when I'd actually get around to playing it.
Is that you, Nicky, making funny noises?
Sounded like traffic or something.
I can hear traffic or something, yeah.
I'm on the main road.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, thanks. Oh,
Motorbikes.
eating
Yeah,
rubber.
I'll move to stupid motorbikes.
Anyway, carry on,
Yeah.
Darren.
So I think another game came out, and also I didn't like it's typical me. I didn't like the fact that there is a big thing on the front cover saying includes the last 2 Metro games, and I was like, I already own them, so why?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this was like 28 quid, so I was like,
Oh, that's
I'll
good.
take a punt
Yeah.
on that. I think
Yeah,
it's a Game Pass game, if you've got Game Pass.
No,
anyway.
it was on
Oh, it
Game
was.
Pass. It got taken off quite a while ago, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm impressed by it. I mean, the Metro games anyway were very good looking titles,
Yeah.
even like back on the 360 when I played the original 2, and obviously they keep the trend up here. And while I was playing it, I thought, you know what, this is set in Russia. I'm going to play it in Russian with subtitles.
Oh my goodness.
And I will say, whether or not it is actually done that way, but the voice syncing does match the Russian.
Oh, okay.
So whether it was originally in Russian or not, I know to play in Russian I had to download the 600 meg update.
Right.
Because it's not actually there from the start.
Yeah. Okay.
But it does get a bit much when you're trying to read the subtitles, because you're speaking to someone, but yet there's another couple of people over in the corner having a conversation, and their subtitles are also coming up.
Oh, that's annoying.
So it's sort of, I still know what's going on and everything, but I've only sort of pretty much done the first hour or so of the game, so I've got onto technically your base, as it were, and like I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah, it is. It's brilliant. Yeah. 100%.
And even when I was outside, because I've been playing it with the 70 quid Xbox headset thing that I picked up, all the sounds and everything all sound pretty authentic and whatnot.
Yeah.
From the what's it you're on, and even when I was sitting there chatting to the people outside on that while it's going along, you've got the scenery going by, and I was sitting there for a while, and I thought, is that actually repeating? It doesn't actually look like the scenery's repeating, which is pretty impressive, and then it did. But it took a while for it to start repeating.
Oh, okay.
So it still gives you that real sort of like expansive feeling that you are gunning it along through what's technically one of the biggest countries ever.
Yeah.
Because when I fly over Russia, going to Japan, you're literally flying over that place for over 6 hours.
That's insane.
Like you can literally be on the map, and you're like, yeah, we're over Russia. 6 hours later, where are we? I was still over Russia.
Mental.
Yeah. So yeah, and I like the way as well you interact with the radio to try and find the next locations and stuff you can go and visit, to disembark, to obviously gather more people, because I know obviously it grows as you go along.
Yeah.
Sort of a thing, and the way it obviously ties in the little nods as well, where you're constantly finding like little Metro 35 books all over the place.
Yeah.
As well.
It's such a great game, man. It's
still got all of the sort of things from the previous, like you can't explore as much as you expect.
Yeah, but it's still a bit later. I mean, it does open up. It feels like very open world. There's multiple open world sections as well in the game.
Yes.
So it is a lot bigger than the previous games in that respect.
How does that run on? Because you say you're playing it on the Series X, yeah?
Series X, yeah, it seems to run pretty flawlessly. I mean, it didn't have any options that I could go into to check to see if it was running at 4K, whether the ray tracing was on or off or whatever. I just imagined it's all probably on by default, knowing which system it's on.
Yeah, because I played that like before Christmas, I think, on the Xbox One X. I think I had that on 4K, and I think that's one of like the hardest games to push that console with. I mean, that basically sounded like a PlayStation 4 when that was running most of the time. That was just going mad all the time, and there was quite a lot of lockups as well.
Oh, I haven't noticed any of that. Like when I've been playing it, so it's probably been patched and sorted since then. So
that's good then.
So yeah, and obviously as well, one of the main things I've noticed is, I will say, the gunplay in the original game, especially, wasn't that great, and they seem to have like tightened that up a
It feels
fair
a lot.
bit.
Yeah, it does feel a lot
Yeah.
smoother. Yeah. Good, man. I'm glad you finally got getting around to playing it. It is a stunning game. And it's good. It's had those console updates. I mean, obviously, I had the luxury of playing it on a decent PC, so I got to experience it. Very, very good. Yeah, man, absolutely fantastic game. I love the Metro games. I mean, I played the original ones 3 times each.
So yeah, I'd say even if you're after something that, for the moment, during what's technically a little bit of a dry period, to be honest.
Even though we've got Zelda out this week, haven't we?
Yeah.
If you've got Switch.
Yeah, look and play pretty decent. Then if you've got a PS5 or a Series X, this could be something to look out for. And like I say, you can pick it up for like 30 quid or under. So
yeah.
And it comes with like extra content as well, so it's more than what the original base game had. Although the game now is probably over a year and a half old or so, I'd say.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
just before 2019, the end of 2019, something like that, was it?
Yeah, it is a good few years old now, and it still looks and runs great. I mean, it's stunning, visually stunning. The story's fantastic. It's just a shame it came off Game Pass.
Especially with like the enhancements and stuff they've added to it, you'd think they might want to make a big thing of it, or maybe they just thought, well, now it's off there, we'll bundle that in, we'll do that, we'll add a little extra, and we'll sell a few more copies. Why not?
Yeah, and that's, I mean, and from memory, I don't think it was on Game Pass for that long, really. I think it was only on for about 6 months, if that.
That's a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, because I was going to go get back to playing it again for the Chivos, because I played it on Steam before, but I didn't get round to it, and it came off Game Pass, so yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think if I've played anything else. I did pick up another game, but I obviously haven't played it yet. Again, that was a super cheap. I ended up picking up like Vermintide 2.
Oh, it's a great game, man. I got that. Yeah.
I remember when it first came out, it was a digital-only game.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realise that they'd released some. Again, it's like a deluxe edition, which includes extra DLCs and other bits and bobs. But yeah, that was 17 quid or something like that off of base.
Did you get that? What system?
Xbox One.
Oh, nice.
Because I've got the original on the Xbox One, the original Vermintide, nice. So I just thought I'll get the second one on there as well. So,
shame it's not cross-play.
Isn't it?
No. Which is a shame. I have heard, but just talking of cross-play, there was some mumblings that Destiny 2's going to go cross-play in a month or so, which is quite interesting.
I think they've talked about that for a while.
Yeah, someone was mentioning it on our Discord this week. I was like, really? Well, that might get me back playing it again if I've got people to play with. But yeah, Vermintide, I wish it was.
You'd have to start again afresh on a new system, wouldn't you?
Yeah, buy it again and fucking Cool, played anything else?
No, that's it really. Just the Valhalla daily stuff again. They seem to have fixed the slight issue they had. They haven't given back the event stuff yet though, so that's still missing. But yeah, that's pretty much me done.
Cool. All right. Well, I've been playing a few games this week. I'm going to get straight into the ones that I've not really been playing much of. Been playing the Switch a little bit this week. I've been playing 51 Worldwide Games with my boy. He absolutely loves this game. We always end. I will say it's got 51 games on it, but he because we haven't played it for a little while, and we always like and the way we play it is on the small screen of the Switch. So because the stand on the Switch is pretty shit, I have a little stand for it, like an actual stand you put the actual Switch tablet on.
Right, yeah.
And we play it like that because some of the games don't work too well on the TV, or we just sit on the floor at the table and play. So We've been playing a few games on there. So we've been playing the fishing, which is really, really good. It's just, you have 3 minutes and you have your 2 little fishing rods and you have to cast it by actually like moving the little remote and playing it like that. Playing a little bit of Connect 4, and what's good about some of these games like Connect 4 is you use the touch screen on the Switch, so you just put it down and you just use your fingers to move the objects. There's a slot car one which you really like as well. And there's a shooting gallery one where there's like a icon on the screen and you move the Joy-Con around to move the icon and you use a trigger to shoot. So it's only free, so we've just been playing those simple games together, and we always have a blast when we play it. So if you've got kids, this is definitely a good game to pick up because there's a lot of games. I mean, me and the missus play it sometimes as well because there's more like adult games on there as well. So I've been really, really enjoying that. While I've been playing the Switch as well, I've been playing.
I'm a January man.
Oh,
Pines
bollocks.
and cranes are...
Stupid thing. Let's do some editing this week. I've been playing some Monster Hunter World as well. Not Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter Rise. Yeah, because since I've had it, because it's been out a little while now, and I've hardly really played it, so I wanted to play it some more because there's 2 ways of playing it. So you got there's 2 twins to talk to. One of them's like single player missions, and one of them's the online stuff. So what I've been doing is jumping into people's online games and leveling up and stuff like that. But I decided to jump into some of the single player stuff this week, and I was getting quite sucked into it. I played it for a good few hours this week. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's just a shame that you can't do all of it co-op. It does gate off the story stuff to single player only, but it seems to make it a little bit easier on the single player side of things. So I didn't really have a lot of trouble.
Would you say you could play that single player, Webby? Because the Monster Hunter World put me off because a lot of people said you could only really play it sort of, online with people. Whereas I looked at this one, I thought it looks pretty good, but then I thought, well, if you haven't got loads of people to play with, that'd be kind of really difficult.
So there's
World you can play solo. Yeah, you can play World solo. In fact, going through some of the story stuff solo is generally quite good because you've got to sit through these cutscenes, and if you've got people with you, they have to wait for you to watch the cutscenes before they can even join you.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
But with Rise, it's different. So there's 2 different modes. So there's like a little village, and there's like one person you talk to do your single player quests, and there's another person you talk to do your multiplayer quests. And you level them up differently. So you've always got that choice. And the multiplayer quest is literally you can search for to do a hunt for a certain monster, and it'll just chuck you in a random game with this. Usually 9 times out of 10 it chucks you in with some random Japanese person, because it's matchmaking, and you have a good time and hunt monsters. It's up to 4 player. The games always fill up very, very quick. So I'm really, really enjoying it, man. It's just one of those things with the Switch. It's like I really have to be in the mood to play it. Or I have to be sitting on the sofa while my kids are watching Blippi on the bloody TV. So I'm like, right, I can't put up with this. I'm going to play the Switch while they watch their crud on TV. So yeah, man, I've been really enjoying it. So yeah, those are my 2 games that I've been playing on the Switch this week. I've also been playing a little bit of PC this week. With my Xbox friends. Obviously, I've been doing the standard Sea of Thieves. We've completed now the Pirate's Life DLC. It's a lot better now, but because when it launched, the game had a lot of issues. It was very buggy on the new content. But now the patch has come out, it seems to be running a lot smoother. We've not had any issues on any of the new content at all, which is really, really good. My missus has really got into it. She's even jumping on with the guys without me now. Like she's on there tonight with them, sailing the 7 seas. Because it's one of those games that get you, like you get really sucked into it because there is actually a hell of a lot to do. There's a lot of story content. They're called the Tall Tales, and then you just got the randomness that happens within Sea of Thieves. Like random people you meet. On their other ships, you end up in massive pirate ship battles, or you team up with people and do missions and stuff like that. So, it's a really good game for that. We've actually started not going into party chat and going into game chat now, so we can talk to the other pirates. So yeah, we're really really enjoying Sea of Thieves. It's absolutely fantastic. So does that.
Do you get anyone role playing?
No, I've not come across.
So you don't get avast, you dirty landlubbers, and all that kind of stuff in the chat.
Well, Darkest Frost always does that anyway because he gets well into it. Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. So anyway, on my PC, I've been looking for something new to play because I've got a lot of games on there, but I was just thinking, I've got so many installed. What am I going to play? So I've been meaning to check out this game, and I thought I will check it out. Code Vein. I started playing it this week. Really digging it. It is like Dark Souls, but not as hard as Dark Souls. I mean, I've only played it for.
I will agree with that. Yeah.
I played it for only for a couple of hours. I probably spent about an hour on the create a character because I was following a YouTube guide on how to make Cloud. It took me fucking ages. So I managed to do that. But it starts off quite like that typical anime trope of you start, your character starts off with no memory of who he is, or like proper amnesia, and it's all in this desolate world, and you kind of become a bit of a slave at the beginning. It's kind of teaching you the mechanics of the game. You have to go and find this sort of stuff to keep people alive. I can't remember the name of it now. It's like this weird.
It's glowy. Like a blood, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like
crystallized blood that it grows out of a flower.
Yes, that's what I say. Yeah, but I'm really digging the gameplay. So graphically, it's really nice. It's that kind of anime art style, which looks nice. But the gameplay is very fast and fluid, and what I like about it is it can become quite in depth. Like at the beginning, there's quite a big walkthrough on the different styles of fighting, because you can have a gun or a sword or a lance, and you have these different power moves as well, and you can switch between them really at any time, which is quite cool. But it seems to me you always seem to have an AI character with you, which is handy. I haven't tried the co-op yet. I mean, am I understanding it right, Darren, where you can play the whole game in co-op?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so if that's right, I mean, this would be a really cool co-op game to play with someone on your friends list because, every game is better in co-op, right? But it's just, it has that Dark Souls vibe, like the, you have the stamina, which dwindles quite quickly with your movements or your running or your blocking. Every enemy can kill you. Not super easy, but they have that Dark Souls kind of, every enemy has a move set which you need to learn or you're going to get seriously injured. And it has the Dark Souls trope of the save points. If you select rest, it resets all the enemies on the level. If you die, you drop all your orbs or soul or whatever the fuck it's called, and you have to go back and pick it up. But if you die before you pick it up, you lose it forever. So it is pretty much a Souls-like, but in anime form with an anime story. The anime girls not wearing much clothes with giant boobies. So if you don't like that, then I don't know what's wrong with you. So I think it's pretty cool so far. I'm really intrigued by it. I'm going to give it more game time. Not over the next couple of weeks though, because I am moving house and I've got a lot of other stuff going on with work and stuff. But so my game time's going to be quite limited. But it's a game that I'm definitely going to go back into as soon as I can. It's a lot of fun. It's on Game Pass, so there's no excuse not to check it out if you have an Xbox or a PC. Cool.
And it's pretty cheap these days as well, because I think that's about 2 and a bit years old now.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, time just flies, man. I remember, used to be able to play all these games on launch, and now I'm not playing them till a year or two bloody later. It's crazy. Yeah.
I think there is a lot of online like guides to make loads of different characters as well. I think you could.
Yeah,
There's like 2B from Near Automata and things like that.
yeah,
But I remember
yeah.
my buddy streamed that when it came out, and he got really angry and frustrated because, well, he's not very good at video games. I think he'd streamed it for about 5-6 hours, and he just got stuck on this boss for ages,
Yeah.
and he just kept complaining because he said this game sucks. You can't even run. So I just told him, well, press R1, mate. And then he started running. He's like, what? No wonder I got stuck on this boss for like 2 hours. Because, well, like say you don't get like instructions books, and if you ain't paying attention to the when they tell you the tutorial, you might never know, will you?
Yeah. Cool. All right. So I've also been playing some PlayStation 5 this week as well. So I've been playing quite a bit of Returnal. Really getting into it now because when I first started playing it, I was just a bit like, oh yeah, it looks nice, it plays quite nice, but I can't see myself sticking to it. But a few of the guys in Discord have been talking about it quite a lot the past week or so, so I wanted to jump back on it, and I became a little bit addicted to it for a couple of days. I was because it's one of those games that's just like one more run. But because every time you die, like the level, like it reloads and the level's completely different, which is really, really cool. And it's just trying to find your way to the boss battles, and which are just mega hard because it's like it's a third person kind of like at times like a bullet hell shooter. And you have to really dodge a load of those, like in bullet hell games, the big like blue or pink orbs or whatever. You have to dodge all them, and there's a lot of like really funky enemies. And as you progress through the level, you get different weapons with which are different abilities, and you pick up different abilities, and more health and stuff like that. And it's just a lot. It's that addictive gameplay loop. But graphically, it's absolutely stunning, and it's just fast and fluid. And again, with the DualSense control of the PS5 really makes the game as well, because like when it's raining, you can feel all the raindrops on the controller, and it's got that thing where the left trigger locks, so you can push it down halfway and it aims, and you have to like really force it down so it has like a secondary fire mode. And that's just a really cool and intuitive way of using a controller, which I really like about this game. And it's just really interesting because it's just the story isn't spoon fed to you in cutscenes or anything like that. Like when you discover the story as you're playing through the game. Like you'll be playing through and your character will pick up artifacts or find dead bodies and stuff like that, and it reveals more and more of the story about the planet and the alien race that were wiped out there and all that sort of stuff. So it's done in a really cool way that you just want to keep on playing just for those little things as well. Again, like it does have that £70 price point, which is a big turn off. Obviously, I didn't pay for it, thanks to Wes. But I know a lot of people have picked up and pumped a lot of hours into it. One of the community members in the Discord has put over 100 hours into it and finally completed it.
Nice.
So it's just one of those. If you're into those kind of bullet hell third-person shooters, which can get a little bit repetitive, it is frustrating. It is, you have to learn. It's a bit like Dark Souls in a way, where you have to learn the enemies' moves and stuff like that. But it's just a faster-paced version, if that makes sense, with guns and it's in space, etc. I think it's great, and it's something that PlayStation has done really, really well with the launch of the PS5 so far. As they've put out a lot of not like that. They've put out some interesting games that haven't been done before, and trying out some new ideas and games that have actually been exclusive to that system. Whereas with Microsoft, they haven't done that with the Xbox as of yet, and it's just a shame. I feel like Xbox is getting a little bit left behind, but like with these really good single player exclusives that PlayStation seems to be pumping out at the moment. So yeah, man. If you've got a PS5, it's one of those games that I would wholeheartedly recommend. It is something different. It looks great. It plays great. It can get very frustrating at times, though. Don't get me wrong, but If you've got the money or you want to wait for Project or whatever, yeah, that's great. All right, any questions or is that it?
No, I'm fine. Good.
All right, so I'm going to get into the last game we're playing this week, which I've actually completed today of all days. Last of Us Part 2. I completed it, everybody. I absolutely completed it. Aren't I amazing? I'm only about a year and a bit too late. And initially I wasn't even going to play it, but the thing is, everyone in the community was slagging me off for not playing it and for slagging it off. I picked up cheap. It was only 15 quid in a sale on Argos. So that kind of was like, well, for 15 quid, I'm actually going to play through the whole game so I can shut up the haters out there. So you can now all shut up. I've played the game to full completion. It took me about 18 hours. And it was okay, apart from so there is a lot of good and there is a lot of negatives in The Last of Us Part 2. The first thing I'm going to say is there is no way it was Game of the Year last year. I'm putting it out there. I don't know what people were fucking tripping on last year. Assassin's Creed was Game of the Year. Yeah, this game did not deserve to be Game of the Year of 2020. Yeah, graphically, it's visually absolutely stunning, but
it wasn't that issue that people had problems with. It wasn't the graphics or the gameplay and stuff. It was the story.
It was the story, 100%, and the graphics and the gameplay are good, apart from the aiming and the shooting's a bit off. But that was the same in the Last of Us game, but. I loved the original Last of Us game. I thought it was absolutely fantastic from start to finish. The DLC with Ellie and her girlfriend was really good DLC as well. It's just this game just made no fucking sense to me in regards to the story, because obviously, I'm going to do spoilers because the game's over a year old. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, if you haven't played it yet, I would fast forward by about 20 minutes.
I wouldn't say 20 minutes. It's quite
okay. Let's fast forward by about 10 minutes. All right, if that. I'll put a note in the show notes as to when the spoilers are between. How's that? Yeah. So the first Last of Us. It ended where Ellie was going to get killed for the cure, but Joel said no, and then just killed all the scientists and everyone in the Fireflies place. And got Ellie the fuck out of Dodge because he became attached to her. And, it was a really good ending. And, it was really, really good. But the thing is, with Last of Us 2, that don't make sense to me yet. So with Abby, traipses all the way across the fucking country during a zombie apocalypse to get revenge for her parents getting killed, all those years ago, right? And then the way Joel gets killed is completely fucked up. And then it's like, right, so you've done this. It's the middle of a zombie apocalypse, so that the first thing on my mind in a zombie apocalypse would be fucking survival, not traipsing halfway across the fucking country to get revenge on someone. It's a zombie apocalypse. It's Last of Us. People get killed all the fucking time. Throughout both games, Last of Us 1 and 2, people get shot, killed in all sorts of ways all the time, right? So in that case, there's probably going to be a million revenge stories coming out if you really think about it. But no, people are like, oh, right, they've died, it's sad, we need to survive, let's fucking concentrate on that. So Abby and her crew traipse halfway across the country to fucking kill Joel, which they do. And then the rest of the story is like, right, Abby and Joel's brother.
Did you mention, though, they kill him after he saved their life as well? They still kill him, even though Joel saves Abby's life and that. They basically bash his head in with a golf club.
Yeah, and that's what's even more fucked up, because he had literally just saved them. So then she kills him in a horrific way. So after all that, and they fuck off on that, they leave Ellie and that alive. Ellie and Joel's brother are then like, right, let's traipse halfway across the country in the other direction and go and get revenge on them. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's just...
Oh no, Joel's brother's against you going after them.
Yeah, but Joel's brother does go, and then obviously Ellie follows.
Yeah, he comes a bit later or whatever.
Yeah. But a few people go, and then it's all that revenge bollocks.
Should we just call the game "Idiots Getting People Killed"?
Well, yeah, all right,
because that's basically what happens. Other people getting everyone else killed around them. Nice.
Yeah, so that's actually the crux of the story. I mean, it does have some actually, like some of the story's bits are actually. I'm going to give it a little bit here. Like some of the flashback stuff is actually quite good and well done. Like back when she was a kid and Joel's teaching and stuff and all that sort of stuff. Like some of that stuff was actually pretty decent, but it's a zombie apocalypse and that. But it felt to me that they're really trying to push, you know, some certain agendas within this game. So there's a character in the game called Lev, who is a girl. But the whole part, like, this takes up a large portion of the fucking game. Lev is a girl, but wants to be a boy. So they spend the whole game, like, so she shaves her head because she wants to be a boy. So everyone in the game calls her he. So they're really trying to push the trans thing in this game. And I've got nothing against people wanting to be trans or whatever. Live your best life. Be whoever you want to be or whatever. Yeah. I don't give a fuck. But you're really telling me in a zombie apocalypse that's the top thing that people are worrying about. Oh, he, because they really do push it like that word he.
There is an arranged marriage thing going on as well that they want to get out of. So
yeah. So there's that, and then. In another part of the game, Ellie and her girlfriend are at a dance, and they're smooching, and then there's this real old guy, you know, a boomer, you know, making a really big deal out of it. Oh, get the hell out of here! This kid's in here, blah blah blah. And I'm like, this is set in like 2050 or whatever. I don't think people are really going to be making a big fucking deal out of lesbians kissing. You know, I mean, no one gives a fuck now. And, you know, it's 2021. So, you know, there's these things that they really try and push it. And I was just sat back and I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are you pushing this identity politics agenda in a fucking zombie apocalypse game? It just felt so forced. The way where you could see it was so blatant what they were trying to push with that. And it was just a bit of a shame, really. I mean, it's just really weird. And then later on in the game, like you play as Abby for a lot of the game after you play as Ellie, and it shows some of her story and on how she betrayed people and all this stuff. She gets to Ellie, but she leaves Ellie alive again. Ellie gets news that Abby's in a certain place, but Abby has actually been caught and she's on this pike and she's going to die anyway. But then Ellie decides to fucking set her free, walks off to the beach on the boat, and then she kind of decides,
no, I don't want to set you free. I'm here to kill you. Actually.
Yeah, then she's like, yeah, so yeah, but they walk together for ages. Then it's like now, and then they get to the beach, and then Ellie's like, oh, I'm not going to set you free now. And then they have a punch up. And then Ellie's about to drown Abby, but then Ellie has a change of heart and just says, get the fuck out of here. So I was just like, well, that whole hour of the game, like traipsing off from your farm where you're living with your girlfriend and a kid to go and get revenge is just pointless because after she goes to try and get revenge, doesn't actually get it in the end. She goes back to the farmhouse and her girlfriend has left with the kid and left the farmhouse empty. So she's ruined her relationship because she wanted to get revenge and decided not to get revenge. It's like, oh, what the fuck? So I actually felt I played through the game and the story didn't go anywhere at all. It was just like absolutely fucking pointless. And I was just thinking to myself, I can't believe people actually had this as their game of the year last year, because if you played like Assassin's Creed, for example, which is actually a really good story, blows this one away, you'd be like, you know, what the fuck, man? So, you know, it's just such a departure from the original Last of Us, which was told very, very well. And I actually think they should have just left it there. This game shouldn't even exist, in my opinion. Like, you know, it was just
never needed a sequel, did it?
No, but because it's like one of the it's like those epic films as well, right? Like the end of Last of Us, it was kind of left to your imagination what happens next, and then they kind of fucking ruin it with a sequel, right? And it's just like that's what's happened here, and it's just really frustrating because this game shouldn't exist. I know it sold well and a lot of people enjoyed it, but it's just I can't understand how anyone can look at this properly, objectively, and say, "Oh yeah, that story's amazing, completely made sense," because it fucking doesn't, man.
There's a lot of people these days with low bars when it comes to storytelling. In like modern storytelling is shit, in my opinion. A lot of it is just horrible. Like you only need to look at a lot of recent films. It's just like, what the fucking hell is this? What have you come up with here? I don't get it. Like, have the talented story writers all fucked off somewhere else, or did we just lose them all? Because like the new crop coming through ain't that good. To be honest, like there's obviously a lot of good ones out there, but when you think of obviously the sequel to the best-selling PlayStation exclusive of the generation before, by a fair bit, being outsold by another game. It got outsold by Ghost of Tsushima.
Which I'm not surprised. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is a fantastic game, and it didn't get the praise.
You look at that on paper, and you'd think a new sequel to like everyone's like beloved game of the previous gen. You'd expect like that's going to kick ass, and obviously it did sell well. But like I say, Ghost of Tsushima sold more copies, and Last of Us had a pretty drastic price drop. Which is pretty unheard of for a PlayStation exclusive that quickly.
Yeah, as I say, I mean, I picked up for £15 last year. It was last year, and I just never played it because I don't know. I was waiting for the right time in my mental state to play it. But since I got the PS5 and it had that PS5 update, I thought it was a perfect time to.
It might have also been due to the fact as well, to be honest, that we were in the middle of a pandemic and the game's tone is extremely grim and miserable anyway.
Yeah.
100%. It's like Fallout. I think if they'd have probably brought out a Fallout last year, it probably might not have done particularly well, because I remember
I bought mine about 3 weeks after it came out off eBay for like 20 quid or 25 quid. I think it sold. I think it sold really well the first few weeks, then I think it just sort of died off. But I mean, that's these politically correct games, and they're trying to have messages of this and messages. I like the sort of films that win Oscars and stuff like that. They're all sort of indie crap that have some sort of weird message that people have to pay attention. When you actually watch the film, it's just not very good. But it ups it. It ticks all the right boxes. And a lot of films, say a lot of games are made like that. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I suppose Revenge. Well made, it's not worth it.
It was graphics and sound and the
it was a lot
better than the last one. And then you had the weird uncomfortable sex scene with Ellie and her girlfriend. That was fine. That was a typical sex scene from movies and games. The old kissy silly music.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the other one with
Abby.
I
had to look. I had to look away. I was like, oh my god.
I'll just say it, like he just literally ripped the top off, bent her over doggy style, and done her with done a doggy style, but there was like no music or anything. You just heard him grunt, and I was like, this is weird. This is like some sort of weird horror indie film sex scene. I was just like, and I was streaming that, and I was like, it's a bit uncomfortable.
And I thought I know Abby is butch and all that, but like he ripped her top off and she didn't even have any boobs. They were pecs. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Fair, she does live, in a big complex next to a gym.
Yeah, I know, but I was just like,
basically her whole life has been about getting revenge for the murder of her dad. So, that's all PTSD and stuff, which I understand. If you've got nothing but time and revenge and you live next to a gym, you're going to do that, aren't you?
Suppose so, yeah.
Plus, you want to keep yourself fit to survive in a zombie apocalypse. Like.
I mean, all us lot, we're all fat and broken. We'd be first ones to get eaten anyway.
Yeah, 100%, man. I've been on the Huel for a good 4 months now, and I lost a little bit of weight, but I've hit the plateau. So I actually have to do some exercise, and I'm just too fucking lazy.
You're honest about it.
No, that's just true.
The worst time of
metabolism
the year
and stuff like
well,
that.
Really.
Yeah.
When you're in the summertime, exercise isn't that great because you just sweat far too much.
Yeah, well, I say that about every time of year. In winter, it's too cold. Summer, it's too hot. It's just excuse after excuse, you know. Just get to the point, you're just like, I can't be fucked, you know.
I can't be fucked. I'll order a Pizza Hut.
Well, I can't be fucked. I've actually ordered off the internet the other day. It's not come yet. One of those vests that like pulls in your tummy. So I'm going to see how that does.
Oh, like with the electrodes stuff on it.
No. Like you wear it under your t-shirt and it like holds your gut in, so you don't look as fat.
Like a sports bra.
Yeah, but for your tummy.
It's a girdle.
Yeah, girdle, yeah.
Kind of, yeah. But it's a vest that like, holds in your man boobs and your tummy. So we'll see how that does. I'll let you know. I'll give you a review next week. A before and after picture.
Oh God.
If it's too tight, we'll know from your voice from the podcast recording.
Hello, everyone.
You
Welcome to 360G81. Yeah, so...
You put anything else anyway, because we've been...
Yeah, so that's all I've played. Yeah, so I polished that off, and I don't see myself doing much gaming the next week or two. I mean, I'm moving house next week, so I've got the Paranormal Episode podcast Thursday, and then we've got the Patreon show this weekend, and then the weekend after there's going to be no podcast. Because I'm moving house and I'm going to have no internet or anything. Actually, I don't know. Will I have internet? I might have internet. Actually, I might actually, because there's we'll see about that. I'll let you know nearer the time. Okay, shall we get into the news? Because there's been quite a bit.
Yes.
I found out why you could hear the road. For some reason, Discord was using my webcam on the window microphone, not my Blue Yeti. That's why I changed it. I was like, rookie mistake.
Yeah, schoolboy error. Okay, so first piece of news this week is quite an interesting one. A really rare arcade machine has been found in a farmer's field in England. Like a super rare Sega arcade machine. It's called the Sega R3060. It's a gyroscopic arcade cabinet that came out in Japan in 1990 before coming out across the world. So, yeah, it's just a really odd story. Like it's apparently it was in the Ulster Arcade in the 90s. And apparently, I spoke to actually Alex Nintendo Arcade about this week as well, and he said that he said he remembers that arcade machine because there was someone standing outside the arcade, like next to that arcade machine, with sick bags because people used to come off it feeling really ill.
I think I remember being one of those. Not necessarily that arcade, but I remember one back in the day that used to be able to do like a not necessarily 360, but afterburner.
Oh,
you could get some of them that did like flips and stuff, but
yeah, so I thought that was a cool piece of news to share. Really, that
did they say how it ended up in a farmer's field, or does no one know?
No one knows. Or they reckon it got dumped there when the arcade closed. So
this is I hear all the time of. These just stories of like where arcades and places used to just shut and they just dumped their cabinets. They didn't sell them or anything. And there were a few people who knew, like obviously back in the day, and they'd be like, "Yeah, will you take 200 quid for that?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, go for it." You'd be like, as a kid, you'd erupt.
Isn't that the arcade machine that John Connor was on in Terminator 2?
No,
he's in it and the whole thing swings around. I think it looks like that one.
Ah, there you go then.
But yeah, as a kid, like owning your own arcade cabinet, that was like the ultimate dream. Like back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. Definitely.
You guys could have any arcade machine. What would you have?
Oh,
An actual dedicated.
I was going to say I'd have a MAME arcade machine so I could have them all.
Oh.
To be honest,
I'd like Time Crisis. I'd love that.
If it was like a dedicated and one that you can't necessarily get on systems, as far as I know, I'd have the Jurassic Park.
Oh,
that's the one you sit down on and you have the guns.
You sit in one of the little jeeps.
Oh,
The light gun things, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I'd have a light gun one, but I don't know, because the Neo Geo machines are pretty decent, are really good, because you can swap in and out cartridges on those, can't you?
Yeah, there's just MVS, just multi-video system, so it just like came with different things. But yeah, if it was the one, and there was another one, I can't remember what it was called. You've probably seen it. It was on like 3 or 4 screens. It was like a really long game, and you could have like 6 or more players on it, and it was like a space shooter.
Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't know.
There's someone out there that's probably like, because I'm sure it was at Trocadero or one of the places in London.
Sounds
because
familiar.
I know the Trocadero had a unique version.
You could have one person had like a shotgun, another person had like a assault rifle.
Yeah, I think this is like a space shooter, 2D space shooter, like a bullet one, but it's sort of like it was just on this really long screen. It's the Jurassic Park arcade cabinet they had in the Trocadero was actually unique. You actually went in, and I think it was like £2 a credit, and you actually went up and sat on this seat that actually spun round slowly.
Oh.
So there'd be points when it'd be loading a section in, and you'd spin round, and you'd be facing all these other people queuing up to play it, and you're like, yeah, great.
Did you ever go on that one where you had to sit on the bike and pedal to keep up on the screen, like with all the balloons, and you had to fly? Oh man,
that sounds awful. That sounds like exercise.
Or something like that.
that was knackering, mate. I'm telling you.
Well,
yeah, there's probably people out there that would want the OG Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like the OG sort of line, kind of one from the good old days, TIE Fighter.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to move on because I've got a lot of news, mate.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so the next piece of news is about Final Fantasy 14. For some reason, it's become super mega popular in the last couple of weeks, and the Square Enix store actually sold out of digital copies.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't think that was possible.
No, so I was digging into this. I was thinking, how can they sell out of digital copies? And basically, they ran out of the codes to generate more codes. But what happened with it as well is they ran out of space on their servers, so you couldn't create characters on a lot of the world. So they've had to like put in some more servers apparently. And also, I haven't played the game for 2 or 3 weeks because I've cancelled my sub now, obviously because I'm moving and stuff and I'm quite busy and I'm waiting for the new content to drop. Apparently the queue times to get in the game are really, really long as well at the moment. I don't know if you can verify that, Darren, or...
I queue every day I log in, and it's been like that for at least a month, but it's usually only 30 seconds or so and I'm in.
Oh, it's not too bad.
But when I was on there today and over the weekend and stuff, pretty much over this last week, it has been packed. You go to any of the 3 starting city states, there's like hundreds of people.
Wow. I mean, the thing is, I've been reading is there's been a mass exodus off World of Warcraft, and all the players are flocking to Final Fantasy 14 at the moment for some strange reason. I don't know why.
It's to do with a lot of players aren't happy with the new sort of content grind on World of Warcraft.
Right.
They just feel like it's the same thing over and over and over. And it's sort of obviously like World of Warcraft's been going for like over a decade now. So you are going to get burnout. And obviously over the past couple of weeks, I think it was about a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, one of the biggest WoW streamers, Asmongold, jumped from World of Warcraft to try Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
And on the day he did it, I think Final Fantasy on Twitch had over 200,000 people watching it.
Wow. That's insane. And that's the power of streamers. It's crazy.
Not only that, it's also one of those games where you could look and be like, "That looks all right," and then people are like, "How'd you play that?" And it's like, "Oh, there's a free trial
Yeah.
that you can play, and up to level 60 or whatever."
Yeah. The problem with the free trial is that it doesn't allow you to join any free companies.
Yeah, I've heard there are restrictions. You don't get retainers either.
And there's some restrictions in the chat as well. I don't think you can PM people if you're on a free trial as well.
That would make sense because it would stop guild sellers or gold sellers, and it would also stop people just trolling other people, like grabbing a free account just to jump in and harass someone.
Yeah. So
yeah. But the game's really popular at the moment.
Excellent. I might have to jump back on after I've moved. Awesome. Good times. Right, next piece of news. Just give me 2 seconds. Well, I'm trying to load this up. Okay, there was an interesting story that jumped onto. So sorry, Darren. An interesting story that jumped onto our Facebook group today. There's 3 billion gamers worldwide, but according to statistics, almost half of those players are PC gamers, which makes the PC the most popular platform for gaming in the world. Which is quite interesting. That makes sense.
Every household's pretty much got a PC.
Well, when you say that, I don't like these days. Most people, like a lot of people, don't have a computer. A lot of people just use their phones or tablets now. I don't know many people that have computers.
Does that as well? I mean, you can get tablets that run stuff as well as some old PCs.
Yeah.
From like a decade or so ago.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just thought that was interesting. 48% of all gaming happens on PCs. That's crazy.
And then you've probably got about 20% extra of that is phones.
Yeah.
But consoles banned in China for years, so that was pretty much China. The only thing they could play games on was PC. So I mean, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. It's just interesting because you go back years and people have always were saying, "Oh, PC's dead," blah blah blah. But it's seen a massive resurgence. It's crazy time. So when I saw that, I was a bit like, "Wow, okay, interesting." Okay, next piece of news. I'm pretty sure this happened last week before this show, before the last show. The Nintendo Switch OLED edition. We didn't talk about that last week, did we?
No, it was early
Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, mid last week, something like that.
Yeah, so a lot of people were disappointed by this news. I was quite surprised as well after seeing all the rumours that have been swirling the internet. This is not a Switch Pro. This is basically just what Nintendo do best and a slight upgrade to the hardware. So it's got a slightly bigger screen. So the original Switch screen is 6.2 inches. This screen is 7 inches and it is OLED, which for people that remember the PlayStation Vita, the original Vita had an OLED screen. The current the current Switches that are at the moment are LCD screens. So OLED is actually it's more vibrant and gives a nicer picture. And obviously it gives a slightly bigger screen. Every inch counts, lads. So 0.8 inches extra. Make you feel better inside. In my opinion, I don't think if you've got a Switch, I don't really think it's worth upgrading, to be honest. I know Cinema Dan is doing an upgrade because he plays his Switch all the time in handheld mode. So I can kind of understand. I mean, it's going to be selling for £350. And I think
that's only an extra £50 than the normal, isn't it? 50, really, I think the normal is about £290.
It's £280. Yeah, so £70.
The originals have been getting some good deals the last few days, though. I've seen them
I can imagine.
The proper Switch down to about £240, and the Switch Lite's like £170, £160 even.
Wow. Yeah, so I mean, if you mainly use your Switch docked, then there's no point of upgrading at all. if you use it handheld a lot, I can kind of see why, but I don't think I personally don't think it's worth the money. You know, you're going to spend 350 to get another Switch and probably sell yours for like 150 quid. I mean, I don't really get it. So it's just kind of a small. It's not really an upgrade. It's just a bigger screen.
I think it's got more memory. I think it comes with
64 gig.
64 instead of 32.
Yeah.
Still pointless, really, though, when it's 64.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has an SD card in anyway, right? So
you have to have an SD card, really, if you're going to download anything. But
yeah, I mean,
I'm happy they've done that, because if they'd have brought out a Switch Pro or new Switch or whatever, and they fractured the market, and we'd have had another, this game only plays on the new one, and this plays terrible on
the new 3DS
one. Yeah, which we had on there. I mean, there was, in the end, I don't think there was many 3DS only games.
I think there's about 3, Dan said. The only one I can think of is Chrono thingy, whatever it is. Xenoblade. Sorry.
Right.
One of the Xenoblade. And I think Smash played like trash on the original compared to the new. I think that had a problem, but we'll have to. I'd actually wait and see what that looks like in person, because just as it's got an OLED screen doesn't mean, if that's depending on what sort of skin they've got on it, depending on how reflective it is, that might actually end up looking worse.
So there's a couple of other upgrades with this model. So you've got a Ethernet port in the dock now.
Yeah.
You've got a bigger stand on the back, so that little flimsy thing on the normal Switch is no more. Like the whole of the back of the Switch is a little kickstand now, which
holds out.
Yeah. All original Joy-Cons work, and that's about it. So, yeah.
If you don't have a Switch yet, though, it's pretty much the best one to get.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't have a Switch, I would go for this. But obviously, I've got a Switch, so I'm not going to bother upgrading. Yeah, so that's that piece of news anyway. Cool.
And do you think Webby's going to buy one?
No, I won't buy one.
Yeah, we've heard that.
You'll end up with one eventually, possibly.
Yeah.
Death Stranding Director's Cut launches on the PS5 on September the 24th. Hideo Kojima has come out and said, please don't call this game a Director's Cut. He doesn't like the wording because he's a director and he doesn't think it's a Director's Cut. It's just
usually a Director's Cut is either sort of like generally cut down content or stuff that was missing from the original, whereas this is just like more content. It's more like a special edition.
Upgrade. It's better, slightly better graphics,
or an extended edition.
Yeah.
It's called a Director's Cut. So how can we not call it a Director's Cut?
Because it's not. It's got shinier graphics. It's probably on par with the PC version, to be honest. So there's that. Next piece of
it's not too much. Like considering that was shown during the Sony State of Play.
Yeah.
That they held last week, alongside a few other sort of game trailers and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it does include more than the original, not just a couple of new bits. There's like extra things you can build. There's like race mode in it.
Yeah.
So like a training mode, more story content, more other content areas and such.
Yeah. Okay. Well, since you mentioned State of Play, shall we get into that?
Well, yeah. If you've got a note down, I mean, there was only a handful of games shown, weren't there?
Yeah. So there was a game. There was a few games coming to PlayStation 5. I can't remember how to fucking spell this. Arcadegeddon. Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's on a few platforms, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Not all of the games shown are actually like exclusives.
No, they weren't. But there's this. I was under the impression that this Arcadegeddon was PlayStation exclusive. Obviously, I need to look into that a bit more. But it just looked like quite an interesting game because it's all about protecting your arcade, and it just looked quite fun. It looked kind of like a third-person kind of Fortnite, if that makes sense, like with the graphics and the shooting.
Yeah, it's out now in like an early access for like $15.99 or something on PS5.
Really?
Not sure if it's on PS4.
Is it on other platforms?
moment.
Did you say? Or was it just?
I think it's probably on PC, but it might be that they maybe PlayStation had the deal for it to be in early access first on their platform. I don't know.
I don't see it on Steam, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Another game that they showed, which is on PC, I believe, Tribes of Midgard, looks a bit meh.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of put me off it to this one to a degree was it looks alright. It looks kind of like a take on the Diablo and the other one that's free to play that's pretty big.
Oh,
the one that's basically like Diablo. The name escapes me currently. Yeah, this is the Viking themed one, isn't it? And I think it's one of the. Is this with Ubisoft or 2K or Gearbox or someone like that that's associated with this?
I'm not.
But it's one of those anyway. It's a publisher anyway that it's associated with, and obviously this was like a demonstration of like
Gearbox.
This is the content after the game releases, so they're showing you like seasonal stuff again. So it's kind of like, if you like the look of this, good, but if you're a casual, this is a game that wants you locked in playing it.
Just 10-player co-op. I mean, it reminds me of Valheim a little bit.
It looks reasonably decent, like the art style and the way it's done and everything. But then it's like, oh, in this season you'll be able to unlock this exclusive item and do this, and it's like, again, is that just for the seasons? Are you forced to bash through it to get that content before it's gone because you introduce another season after that?
Yeah, I mean, it looks exactly like, I don't know if because you've heard me talk about Valheim a bit when I was banging to that. I haven't played it for ages. That's all, you create a Viking and you have to build your base and you have to kill things to get materials to build more things. This looks like that, but with cartoony graphics. And this is obviously 10 players. Strokey's just said Pillars of Eternity. No, it doesn't look anything like that, really.
No, that's the game I was thinking of, actually.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Which is, the top-down, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is like a top-down Valheim more than anything, to be honest with you. We'll just see how it is. I mean, it looked interesting anyway, so yeah. Cool. There was this was the game I think it was that I thought was on all platforms and looked a bit meh. Hunters Arena Legends. I think this is on Steam.
It's been on PC for about a year, I think.
Yes, and this is why. Yeah, it's been out on PC since July 2020, and it's just got all poor reviews on Steam.
I wanted to buy that one. That looks good.
I know, well, that's what I thought. The trailer looks pretty decent, but then I went onto Steam because someone said it's on PC, and I was like, oh, all the reviews are really bad. So
it's basically a sort of like fighting game, third-person fighting game, battle royale style game, but with MOBA elements, as in like there are mobs and stuff placed about that level you up and get you power-ups and stuff, but you've got other players running around trying to kick your head in as well at the same time. I think it did middling or bad, depending. Obviously, I don't know. But this is kind of like they've rejigged a bit, like some of the game mechanics and such, and added a few extra things since then.
It's got 6 out of 10 average on Steam, so it's not worse.
I think this is another roll of the dice, and the rumours are that this is going to be the PS5, PS Plus game in August.
Right, okay.
Which is going to get a lot of people to at least try it out and give it a go. Give it a.
If it's coming out on PS4 as well at the same time, how they got to do that?
Well, they'll just put it on PS4, mate. I don't understand the question.
It says it's coming out on PS5 and PS4, two different versions.
It'll probably be cross-play, I imagine. So I would.
I'd imagine it would, because it surely use the same servers.
Well, I said in the chat, Strokey McGinger said there's another state of play on the 6th of August.
Oh, okay. Nice. Right, another game that they showed off that has actually just been delayed. I've seen, but it looks pretty decent. It's called Sifu, which is a proper martial arts game, and it was quite interesting the trailer because it sees your character getting older and older as he goes through, and he's using all these proper awesome kung fu moves to just beat up people. It looks quite interesting, to be honest. I like the art style. Apparently, all the martial arts moves are very realistic. Very realistic and accurate, according to some martial artists. So it looks very true to form. So
it's basically a martial arts meets. I hate using it, but the Souls aesthetic or the reset aesthetic. So each time you get defeated, you come back, but you age.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Basically,
cool.
But you obviously have a bit more knowledge of how things are going to pan out and whatnot. So, but it's one of them games where you look at it and you're like, this looks pretty good, decent.
Yeah, it does look decent.
Like, straight away, like the art style's decent, but it fits into the fact that the attacks are interacting with environments and stuff around them and such as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks very fast paced. It looks interesting anyway. So
it still pisses me off. We never got another bloody what was that game? It was basically True Crime Hong Kong, but they renamed it something else.
Streets of LA?
Nope. It was on last gen, and I think there's like
Sleeping Dogs.
Sleeping Dogs, yeah. I'd love a new Sleeping Dogs.
Mm-hmm. Right, so I'll show one more game that I thought looked quite interesting was called Jet: The Far Shore. I don't know what you guys thought of this. If you saw it, it was like a space type game. It reminded me of Flower a little bit, to be quite honest with you. But it's a spaceship flying around planets. I think you go from planet to planet. And it just looked really like the music was really nice, and it looked kind of relaxing in a weird way. It's like you're explorers and you're going to these planets, but you're not allowed to interact or you're not allowed to harm any of the indigenous species of those planets, but they can attack you. So you have to find ways of avoiding them or escaping them, etc. So there's no actual combat in the game, if that makes sense. It's just
I suppose that there isn't really, but if you obviously don't escape from the hostile forces, they're going to kill you. So technically there is combat because they're attacking you.
Yeah, but it looks very beautiful in that you remember Flower and that kind of art style, and that kind of reminded me of that, but kind of that mixed with No Man's Lie. I'll call it Lie because it lied to us when it launched. No Man's Sky. Kind of remind kind of a mixture between those type of games. So it looks quite interesting, to be honest. Yeah, I just thought that was done, and those were the only notes I took away from State of Play, to be honest.
All right, there was. Well, technically, we can lead into another story.
Yeah, go on.
From obviously, they showed off Deathloop. Everyone knew that was going to be the main thing. It looks sort of good, but there were parts of it where it does look like sort of Dishonored mixed with Hitman.
Yeah.
With obviously again the dying and coming back mechanic being a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sold on it. It's not my kind of game, but it looks still decent enough for people that like those.
It looks interesting. But what's interesting about Deathloop is it's a Bethesda title, and as we all know, Microsoft purchased Bethesda, but there was a deal in place for this to be a PS5 exclusive before the purchase happened. So this is actually a PlayStation 5 exclusive until 2022.
Which isn't far off, is it really?
14th of September 2022. This is an exclusive until on the PlayStation 5.
And then you'll be able to get it on Xbox for free on Game Pass, technically.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, and then this will most likely be the last Bethesda game you'll see on the PlayStation as well. So, yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting. I mean, the game looks interesting, but I can wait a year for it to be on my Game Pass subscription. That's fine.
Yeah, Death Stranding we covered as well.
Yeah.
And they also showed off Demon Slayer, which is coming to all platforms anyway.
Yeah.
Which is a 3D fighting game by Psychonect. And I like the series or whatnot, so that's one I'll probably be picking up and seeing what it's like. And then the other one was a trailer for Lost Judgment.
Yes.
And there's been news about that today.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. So, Lost Judgment is a sequel to Judgment. I really enjoyed the original game. But what's quite interesting is what's happened with the Yakuza games is they've obviously come to Xbox and PC, but Judgment hasn't come to PC or to Xbox as well.
I think it's on Xbox, isn't it?
Is it? I
believe it is. I know the new one is coming to Xbox, Lost Judgment. I believe Judgment possibly has.
Oh, am I just thinking of PC?
I think it is. I'm pretty sure they said it's coming to Game Pass.
Yeah. Sorry, it is on Xbox. Sorry, that's my bad. I'm thinking of PC. So obviously the Lost Judgment is coming soon. It's coming this year and looks awesome. But unfortunately, Judgment and Lost Judgment are not coming to the PC platform, and this is because there's been a disagreement between the main actor's talent agency and Sega. The talent agency don't want the game to go onto PC for some weird reason. They just don't like the platform or something.
It's because PC games can be hacked and modded, and because it uses like that. Obviously, the person who's got an issue, his likeness, that's exactly what he looks like. They pretty much do sort of like photocopy, Norman Reedus in Death Stranding.
Yeah.
They don't want them to be hacked and modded and put into weird positions and weird. Because the internet, because you get a lot of stuff. I mean, Street Fighter 5, as soon as that was on the PC, they hacked the source code, released all the information about forthcoming characters and DLC and all the rest of it because it all comes up. And then there was like a ton of nude mods for it, for the characters. And you kind of it is like, if you're a creator or whatever, you must be horrified to a degree. You'd be like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't what I intended.
Yeah.
But that is the PC platform. It's moddable, and that's one of the appeals of it to a lot of people.
So what's happening now is it looks like there won't be another Judgment game unless they can come to some sort of agreement. But because the thing is, the reason Sega want their games on the PC platform is because they sell very, very well. You know, all the Yakuza games, for example, have sold so well.
Oh yeah, if you like Japanese games and you haven't got a PlayStation, you've got a PC.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of them end up as well.
Yeah.
Probably down to money as well, and I suppose they wouldn't, like in the small print that never said nothing about PC, the PC port, so they probably want more money as well as, other reasons.
Maybe. But yeah, it's just a sad state of affairs, really. I mean, I'm not that fussed because I'm going to play it on the PlayStation anyway. But it's just a bit shit that they're not allowing Sega to put it on PC, even it's a Sega made game and they're stopping Sega from making more money because it is one of their biggest platforms of PC for sales. So yeah, it's a shame, to be honest. All right. Oh yeah. So there was a funny story this week. I don't know if you saw it. There was a advert that went onto Twitter. PlayStation 5 advert about,
I know
about how PlayStation is so awesome, blah, blah, blah. But then there's a dad playing his PS5 and you look at it on the TTV shelf and the PlayStation is upside down. Not in a Sony PlayStation advert, they have the PlayStation 5 console upside fucking down. And then I don't know how no one noticed that and it got released. That is just absolutely hilarious.
If you wouldn't know, you would think that's where it would be. You would think the disc drive is at the top, not at the bottom of the PlayStation, though, wouldn't you?
No, to be fair, I've read the instructions, so I know how to put my PlayStation because,
I know you've read the instructions, but you just wouldn't think that the disc drive would be at the bottom, not at the top. Because most of our things...
Maybe the guy's off on his own world. He's had some shrooms. He's set it up. He's flipped out the wrong way because he's an older gentleman. He's like all casual, sitting there with his remote, just imagining himself playing something.
Well, it's the thing is though, they've got it upside down and they haven't even got the plastic stand on or anything like that. It's just kind of there, just flippy flopping around. I wonder how many people actually have their PS5s like that in real life. I imagine there's a few. But yeah, so people obviously called it out and made memes and stuff online and that, and Sony have now pulled the ad. So yeah, it's just something that's quite.
That's free advertising though.
I just made it's made everyone chuckle. So well done, Sony.
Speaking of well done, Sony, there's a game coming out, Doki Doki Literature Club, which was on the PC a while back, but they're doing like a version of it for consoles.
All right.
And on the Sony platform, they've censored it.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I knew they would.
Has it got nude women in it?
No, it's got a bit of blood in it, but they've literally like made it look like black tar on the PlayStation. On every other single platform, it's like blood red. It's like someone stabbing themselves.
Why? That's just weird.
I don't know. It's again, and people were like, "What the fuck are they doing?" Like, there's no need for that. Like, you have that, and then, like you say, you go back to The Last of Us. You've got like actual proper sex going on. You've got major violence going on.
And,
exactly, limbs flying and that.
Fucking mental.
That's fine.
Yeah,
we can't show that.
Oh, it's because it fits a certain agenda, so it's allowed. All right.
Well, no, you can't, because Mortal Kombat has it, like loads of games do, but it's just, it always seems to be like, why the fuck? It's a fucking still image as well. It's not you actually see the person.
Because they're technically at school, and that some of the text in that is a bit risque, is a little bit, you think, oh, how'd they get away with saying that? Oh, it's on PC, all right then.
Yeah, I never played it because it's obviously a PC. It's one of those visual novel style games.
It gets towards the end, it gets a bit dark with like suicide and things like that.
What's it called? Doki Doki what? Literature Club Plus. Or just Literature Club. It's free. This game is not suitable for children or those easily disturbed.
It's the thing, like with a lot of the Japanese entertainment, it does go into some pretty dark and weird places at times. It doesn't necessarily shy away. I mean, one of the things that always threw me out is there's a lot of Japanese TV shows that deal with death,
right,
and grieving and like helping people get over stuff like that, because it happens in real life.
I think what you see what it says, it's got schoolgirls. It's all schoolgirls, isn't it?
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway,
I think they don't like it because it sort of looks cartoony and innocent to a certain point, and that might sort of, parents might look at it and think, oh, that's just a little cartoon game. That's fine for my little kid. That's fine. And then they find out later that's like, oh, hang on. It's actually an 18-weight game.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just the art style that's being used to tell the story. Like, it's like that for a lot of things. I know a lot of people don't watch certain things because of how they look or whatever. But you sometimes might sit someone down and think, oh, this is a fucking cartoon or whatever. And then all of a sudden you get pulled right into a fucking amazing story.
Yeah.
That all interlinks perfectly, and the characters are all fantastic and well developed. That's what you want. It's just good storytelling, entertainment.
Fair dues. Right, I'm going to move on, mate, because I've got a couple of bit more news. So, obviously, we all know that Xbox Game Pass has been a huge success on both Xbox consoles and the PC platform. But what people haven't been expecting is that the Xbox Studios games are seeing a massive success on Steam at the moment. Even though Game Pass on the PC is super cheap, it's like £6 a month, people are still buying Xbox Game Studios games on Steam in droves, and the most popular games have been recently Sea of Thieves, especially since the latest update, and Forza Horizon. So it's mad. you know. And this is the thing. This is the misconception about PC gaming, right? But people think, oh, all PC gamers just pirate everything and they like their free games or whatever. Mate, they spend money, lots of money on games on PC.
Everyone spends money. It's just that you do get a lot of people that will, everyone has that classic thing where you're like, I like the look of that game, but I'll pick it up when it's around this price point.
Yeah.
And then it hits that price point and everyone's like, nice one, I'll have that now.
Oh yeah, there's just a quick thing I said about that game that I was talking about, similar to that, which I forgot, with similar to Steam as Nintendo, which I think Xbox and PlayStation don't do that. Whereas if you add it to your wish list, they'll actually email you when there's a price cut.
Oh, also Nintendo do that, don't they?
Yeah, Nintendo do that, but the rest of them don't. That's just maybe that's why Steam as well, because you can always add that to your library and get it when it's cheaper.
Yeah, on your wish list, yeah, because you get a message you get an email when a game hits a wish list on Steam.
Yeah, but so that's the same on Nintendo as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it's just I just thought that was quite an interesting piece of news, really. Last two pieces of news that I've got, which are quite interesting. Do you remember Mario 64?
I didn't know if you was going to bring this up.
Vaguely, I remember it.
Well, a sealed copy of Super Mario 64 just sold at an auction for $1.5 million. What the fuck, man? I mean, my first thoughts when that. Yeah, so my first thoughts were, who has $1.5 million in their back pocket to spend on a video game? Give me some of your money. Come on, please. Help me out. And the second thing is, it's a Nintendo 64 game. Are they collectible? Obviously they are if it's sold for $1.5 million. Absolutely crazy.
If someone ran up to you in the street and said, right, you can either have $1.5 million or a brand new sealed copy of Mario 64, what do you want?
Oh, no. Yeah, it's just because it was sealed. And it's like in a super, like it's graded very high. You know,
it might be possibly one of, if the only sealed copy of the game left in existence.
Yeah, it's just apparently it's just one of fewer than 5 known sealed copies in such incredible condition. Because you have to remember the N64 game boxes were just really flimsy, shitty cardboard. So they break.
Seriously, it's literally getting to the point now where if you'd have known all this back in the day, you'd have taken far better care of all of your old retro games.
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't have traded them into
6 or 7 brand new games, all graded and ready to go in years to come. That's my retirement fund.
Yeah.
I've got Twilight Princess on GameCube. I've got Pokemon Emerald all sealed up. That's gone for about $1,000 on eBay. Well, available for $1,000, but not selling. They normally sell for about £600-700.
Wow.
Be like back in the day, gaming's a waste of time, and then in years to come, it's like, yeah, you know that copy of the game I got, I just like you could have gone back in the day if you'd have known and just got like sealed copies of like a load of the pure classics and just kept them completely sealed in a dry box somewhere.
Yeah.
Until now.
Yeah.
And there's your retirement fund.
Well, people do that with like got your retirement when you was a child. People do that with cars and other things, so why wouldn't they do that with stuff like that?
Well, it'll happen with anything that's limited numbers. Like, if something's physical, there's only a certain amount of time until it's all gone, maybe.
I'm surprised Mario 64 was that much, because that must have sold, what, 5-10 million copies at least?
Yeah.
I don't think N64 sold... I don't think 64 sold silly amount, maybe what, 30-40 million consoles, maybe even less than that actually. So you've got to think, what, at least half of all of those had Mario 64.
Yeah. Anyway, so just going on the classic game auctions as well, there was another game sold for there's a game that's selling. The highest bid at the moment is $100,000, and that is an original cartridge for The Legend of Zelda for the NES. That's up on eBay at the moment. It's one of the original cartridges in pretty much almost perfect condition. Current bid is $110,000 apparently.
That's going to go up because obviously you always get the crazy bidding at the last minute.
Yeah. Apparently that particular copy is rare though because it's a variant. It's called the NES R variant, and that particular production run of the box only ran for a few months. So yeah.
Collectors are sweating.
Yeah. Collectors are a crazy bunch, aren't they? So yeah, that is all the news. I think we've only had a few questions this week. If you do want to ask questions, just pop on the Discord group and go into the podcast questions section, or jump on a Facebook group, or at me, or at 360gamercast on Twitter. Hogarth says, with CD Projekt Red announcing new DLC for the enhanced version of The Witcher 3, will you be playing it? Tell me more. I didn't know about this.
I might try, obviously, if I get spare time, but spare time these days is getting worse.
So they're doing an enhanced version of The Witcher 3, and they're adding some DLC.
Yeah, well, they talked about doing an upgraded version of Witcher 3 for a while, just basically for PS5 and Series X and S.
I don't know if I could put myself through that game again. It's just so long.
But the 2 new series is coming out at the end of the year, so that might kickstart your fascination.
Yeah, more than likely. It's just one of those games I spent so many hours on. Just like those really long games. I'm like, I've done it once. I don't know. I can't do it again. You know. But yeah, great game.
Are they supposed to be fixing Cyberpunk?
Oh, it's fixed, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, it was fine on PC.
I think it's different teams. It's different teams. I think they are still working on that, but I think they don't want to keep putting out like pointless small patches. I think they're just trying to stealth do a lot of stuff in bulk and actually put out meaningful updates.
So I remember I bought the complete edition of Witcher 3 on Xbox. I thought, I think that was cheaper to buy that than the DLC, to buy them all together.
Oh, wow.
But then the save doesn't transfer over.
Oh, that's stupid, isn't it?
So you have to complete like 60, 80 hours of the game to get up to the DLC section.
Stupid.
So I'm like, nah, I can't be doing with that. So I just never went round to it again.
Fair dues. Next question is from Freeloader, who says, what's your thoughts on the new Nintendo Switch now that we know what it is? Are you guys interested in getting it? I think we pretty much answered that, didn't we? We're not really...
I don't really see myself upgrading. I might give it another year or so and see if another model comes out, or see where they're going from there.
Yeah.
First, because I play my Switch like very rarely.
Yeah, I'm the same, mate. I don't play it enough to warrant an upgrade. I mean, I'm just... Ian Stewart followed up with another question on the same vein. He says, do you think the Switch update being so basic was due to chip shortages and there is still a Pro one coming? Nintendo know it will still sell out and will then bring Pro version out, and those that bought the OLED one will end up buying the Pro 2 as new Zelda will play better on it. Cinema Dan will be at the front of the queue for each one.
That would mean there'd be 4 variations of the same system.
I mean, Nintendo are known for this bullshit, though, aren't they? Right? So
yeah,
I wouldn't put it past.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah. So
can we all agree that the 2DS was horrendous?
Which one?
The thing that looked like a big Lego brick that you hold.
The wedge one.
Yeah.
Oh.
It kind of looked. It reminded me of them goggles, 3D goggles you used to hold up to you had shock attack and stuff like that on them, like the television things.
They did a clamshell version of that towards the end as well, didn't they? That's what Nintendo have always done. I watched recently a video on YouTube. Scott I think his name is, and he was going through all like the different console revisions. He was just going through Nintendo. That's what they've always done. They had about 8 or 9 different versions of the Game Boy. The same with the Game Boy Advance, and not just
Game
that.
Boy Micro,
the Micro, but they actually had 3 different copies of the Game Boy Advance SP.
Oh, of course.
I liked the Game Boy Advance SP. I think that's one of the nicest looking and feeling consoles ever.
They did one which had like a even better backlit LED, like a full backlit LED screen. They didn't like shout about it as much, but that one goes for quite a lot more. Because the other one's just like edge lit, this one's fully backlit. But that's what Nintendo do, mate. They just dribs and drabs, bring little revisions out. I don't think they'll do a pro version of whatever this. I think they'll just go straight to whatever the Switch 2 is, though.
Yeah.
No need to. They're selling so many of them. So I still think that's outselling PS5, Series X, and I think it was outselling the PS4, the Xbox before that. So why would they need to change it?
They do really. It is a big selling system.
That's the market, which not saying it's just for kids, but a lot, it is more kid friendly than the PlayStation and Xbox and stuff like that, especially being handheld. Kids are getting old enough. In the last 4 years since that had been out, kids that were 3 are now, 4. They're getting older. So as the kids get older, you just buy a new one. So there's no need for them to keep updating them, is there?
Yeah. I don't know if there's any other questions. I think that's it for the questions, guys. Anything else you want to add before we end? We've been just almost 2 hours on the actual recording portion.
Wow, I thought it was going to be quite a short one, to be honest. We was hammering through the games pretty quick at the beginning.
Yeah, I know. That's what happens, mate. We just carry on rambling.
Yeah.
So I think that's the end. Big thank you to all the Twitch people watching. You guys are awesome as always. And obviously you got the extra football chat at the beginning that no one else will get. Yeah. So from me, Mock Web, Gamertag, PSD, SteamOD, Webby, 360G.
That's Nick Fight on Nick Fights on Twitch, Twitter, and that. If you want to give me a follow, I'm going through Yakuza and Judgment and loads of other games in the next few months.
Awesome.
Cool. Sensei Switch as well.
Awesome stuff. So thank you very much. If you want to listen to our next 2 podcast episodes, we have the Paranormal Show being recorded on Thursday. And then obviously we've got the Patreon episode coming up this weekend. You need to subscribe to the Patreon. And there is only one way to do that, to visit patreon.com/360gamercast. On there, you can subscribe to the Patreon from as little as £5 a month. That way, you get an episode every single week of the year and all of our special episodes. And you don't need to log on to the Patreon website to listen to those shows. You get an RSS link, you put it into your favourite podcast app, and you can, and then it just auto updates to the latest episodes, just like your current podcast app. So it's simples. Again, patreon.com/360gamercast. If you can't remember that, just visit 360gamercast.com and all the links for everything are on there. The Twitter links, the Facebook links, the Discord links, everything is on 360gamercast.com. So again, thank you very much, everybody. It's been awesome. We will see you next week. Goodbye.